everybody. Welcome to this virtual edition of our year-round member screening series, Film Independent Presents. My name is Jen Wilson. I'm a senior programmer here at Film Independent. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. HFPA has been an ardent supporter of this program for many years. We're very thankful for their support. Thank you to our new virtual screening partner, Vision Media. And make sure to check out the Film Independent calendar to see what screenings we have coming up. Just a note to anybody watching today, there is a question button at the bottom of your screen if you'd like to submit a question for us to ask our guests at the end of the Q&A. Today's special guests are from The Handmaid's Tale, and today we're going to be talking about season 3. Handmaid's Tale has 44 Emmy nominations and 14 Emmy wins, and so we're going to speak with Elisabeth Moss, Ann Dowd, and Yvonne Strahovski. But first, we're going to watch 3 clips from *Handmaid's Tale* season 3.
No.
The girl has to go home.
So that she can get married off at 14? No. I am not doing that. I am not sending her back so that she can get raped and maimed in this insane fucking world that you helped build.
She's a commander's daughter. She'll be protected.
So she's not gonna get her clit cut off when she falls in love. No. It's too much. Mrs. Lawrence. Of Matthew. Francis. Too many.
The universe doesn't have a balance sheet, I'm afraid.
Yes, it does. Yes, it fucking does.
Oh, forgive me.
Don't apologize.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I've had a great time. Really, it's just too soon for me.
I understand. I understand.
Lydia. I'd love to see you again.
Yes, I'll see you at school.
Good night.
You want to know what I tell myself? That she was my miracle. And that I let her go. Because I wanted a better life for her, and so did your wife. Okay? So, If you can't honor my wishes, then honor hers. Please give this to Nicole and let her draw her own conclusions. You need to understand that I protected your wife.
What do you say? Do what?
I'm sorry, but we need to wrap this up.
Good. Yeah, good. Okay, I'll take it.
All right. Please welcome Elisabeth Moss, Yvonne Strahovski, and Ann Dowd. Thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I feel like I won the lottery. I can't quite believe my luck getting to talk to the three of you. So as we can see from the clips we just saw, you three are still having a pretty intense time. Season 3 actually surprised me a bit because it's nice. It was nice to see, June/Offred finally getting some agency and finally being able to fight back, and quite a few less rapes. So that was nice too. So the three of you heading into season 4. Have you started shooting season 4 yet?
Yeah, we got 2 weeks under our belt
Before the lockdown.
Before the shutdown, yeah. So basically nothing. It certainly doesn't feel like a lot. We basically have 10 episodes to shoot.
Yeah.
Anne looked like that just hit her for real. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I had one fantastic day on the set with the commanders. What can I say there? But it was just so good to be back, and
Yeah.
just so quickly shut down.
Yeah.
Yvonne, you started, sweetheart?
Have I started?
Yeah.
No, but I was there. I was ready. I was supposed to go in on the Monday, I think, and we shut down on the Friday before, or so it was like a week or something. Yeah.
So you were all right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I was watching the news yesterday, and our president made some quote about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh dear.
Abraham Lincoln's legacy being questionable, and it took me right back to that scene that was shot at the Lincoln Memorial with the statue of Lincoln's whole like top half just like blown up. Does it shock you sometimes how much the show reflects what's going on in reality?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I don't know if shocks is the right word for me personally. It's more disheartening, I suppose, or heartbreaking. Thinking back to Yvonne and I doing that scene, Lincoln Memorial, and how special I know it was for the both of us creatively, and how much we enjoyed doing it and what it stood for, and being in that space in front of that. Because obviously it was not broken down. That was done with VFX. So we got to actually be in the space, and how special and sacred that felt. And it's just very bizarre, I would say. What do you guys think?
It's just shocking. The big shock is that this man is president, and how complex and strange the world is, and that our country could have chosen him. It's almost impossible to explain, in my opinion.
I think I saw a quote, or actually I saw an interview with Elizabeth and Margaret Atwood, where she said something about when she wrote this in the 80s, it was meant to be a warning of this is what could happen. And then when they started talking about making it into a show, she was like, well, people are actually now threatening to make these things happen for real. Do your writers, try to incorporate things that are happening like, would there be any chance in season 4 that you would incorporate anything to do with a virus, coronavirus, something like that? Or is the season already written?
The season's almost entirely written. I would say that, like, we don't incorporate things literally, but I do think that there's always a feeling on any project that whatever is going on outside or whatever you're going through or the writers are going through, something like this that is so global and so uniting and so we're all going through the same thing, and that's very unusual. So I think that there's been a weird thing that's happened on the show actually several times where we've shot an episode, we've done something, and then 6 months, 9 months later when the episode airs, somehow politically or socially we'll be going through something that is very, very, so it's not intentional. It's not like it's like ripped from the headlines, like, you know, like a Law and Order kind of thing. It's
Right.
just, I think when you're a writer and when you're, you know, a creative, you feel what's going on around you, and that does wind up in the material.
Right.
So I don't think there would be like, you know, well, the scripts are already almost written, so I don't know if there would be like a literal virus, but I do think we've been talking a lot about human connection, human contact, physical contact, isolation, all those themes that I think that we're talking about is definitely something that I know that as an actor, I'll definitely be looking to bring into it.
It's pretty crazy, the parallel. Seeing this past season, you see several scenes of people in cages, and then, you know, the situation that's going on our border. It's just, it's crazy, like, how in line that it is. I read this quote from you, Elisabeth, that said, "I wish it was a fantasy like Game of Thrones, but it happens that it's not."
Yeah.
Well, the great shock was Margaret Atwood saying, everything that is in Handmaids happened somewhere in the world. She did not make it up.
Yeah.
That was pretty stunning.
Yeah, had happened at some point somewhere in the world, or like was currently happening.
Not made up.
Yeah.
This season 3 felt to me like the three of you each had times in the season where you had sort of some mental breakdown at a different part of the season. For Yvonne, it's her character missing her child and her marriage breaking down and missing her finger, her pinky finger. And for Aunt Lydia, I guess that happens at the beginning of the season, because at the end of season 2, you've just been stabbed and beaten up. Do you three ever get to contribute to the evolution of where your character goes in the season?
Yvonne,
I'll let someone else answer. I don't want to monopolize.
I think, yeah, I mean, the seasons are pretty much written, but I do know there's a lot of back and forth with all of us. You know, I know for my part, I at least try to meet up with Bruce and the writers before we start shooting to get an overall sense of the arc. And then as the scripts are coming in, you know, going over them thoroughly before we start shooting and raising any questions or anything that we're bumping on. And that's one of the great things about working on this show, is that it's a continuous open dialogue with the writers and all of us actors. And anytime there's anything that, you know, needs further discussion, we're all there, we're working on it and making appropriate changes if there need to be changes. There's been a few times that something hasn't felt right and it's been changed or slightly adapted to kind of go with what we're all intuitively feeling. Sometimes it's a bit of a crossroads between, like, I know for Bruce and I, we've had a couple of moments where he's really been strong on one thing and I've been strong on another thing, and we kind of hash it out over a week or two.
I think these, you know, the actors on this show know their characters so well, and they have such respect for them and such ownership over their characters. We're always saying, as producers, we're always saying, yes, this is a great idea. We love this, and, you know, this works here. But, you know, producers and writers are all going, but we have to see what Ann thinks and see what Yvonne thinks and see what Joe thinks and have those conversations, because there are going to be things that are going to come up because they're their characters now, and I've always found them to be nothing but fruitful and helpful. Truly, that's not lip service. There's nothing but like making something better. It's not about, I wouldn't do that, my character would say that. It's like, I feel like I want this, or
That's
I feel
what
like
Lizzie does. Yeah.
That's just me.
That's how I've always
did that
imagined you.
imitation
Yeah.
so
I don't
well.
want to do it. That's mainly me, but that's fine. No, but
Yeah,
everyone
but
has such good ideas. Like I'll sit with Ann and she'll like come up with like a line or something or an idea, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna write that down. That's really good. Everyone's
Well,
really
we've had
smart.
a few sessions, haven't we, on the bench?
Yeah.
Saying, okay, let's get this cleared up immediately.
Yeah. And then I'm going to Bruce and going, so Ann and I we wrote the scene, so I've got some notes.
Bruce, it's not his first, what do they call it, rodeo. So
Yeah.
well, the thing that I found fascinating, I had so many versions in my head about Lydia's past story. Oh, this happened, that happened, and this is how it. Well, then I read the wonderful episode that Kira Snyder wrote. I thought, oh, thank God there are writers in the world. It was so good, and it was nothing that I envisioned, and it was terrific. So, anyway, that's another part of what we do. We can, yeah, please, Lizzie, rescue me.
I got you. I think we recognize that we can't do their jobs, and they recognize that they can't do ours. And so there's a real mutual respect there. We stay in our lanes, but also are just helping each other to get, to use a terrible analogy, to like get onto the same highway. It's
Good, hon. Since we've been off highways for so long now.
Yeah.
I think because Aunt Lydia is such a complex character, sometimes it's hard to imagine what her motivations might be. When they come up, when Offred and Serena Joy come up against the obstacles they do, you can sort of see, well, for Offred, she needs to rescue the children. For Serena, she needs to get her baby back. For Aunt Lydia, where do you think her motivation to, get back in there, get back in the game after healing from being attacked comes from for her?
Well, survival, number one, and to keep her position of power, because that regime, it's very clear what it is. Women are at the mercy of men. It's never what the men said it would be. I mean, if the meetings in the church basement had anything to do with religion or true belief, there's not a shred of evidence that any of the commanders actually believe that. It's all a lot of bull shit, am I allowed to say? It's
Sure.
not, it has nothing to do with religion. And so it's a question of surviving. Lydia is a born, I would say, she's very comfortable in a position of power, knows how to silence a classroom even before her cow thingy was invented. What do you call it, Lizzie? I hit you with it, didn't I?
Cattle prod.
Thank you, cattle, cows.
I prefer cow thingy though.
Yeah, cow. I kept thinking, I mean, and to realize that suddenly she's in a position of weakness. She's, scared, number one, very unusual feeling for her, because she realizes I had no clue I was way, way, way behind on this one. Didn't see it coming from that girl, that Emily. And then the commanders will always point a finger. Weakness, we knew. We knew, you're getting old, aren't you? She's always in a position of proving herself. And so I think that is a very major motivator for her. That makes sense.
Yeah, I really appreciated having some new aspects to Aunt Lydia, as well as her backstory, her story of heartbreak, and having been a teacher and taken in that woman and her child. And I really loved getting all of that. So you all have been in coronavirus lockdown Well, LA's been since March 19th, I guess. Elizabeth, are you involved as a producer on the show of working on all the new guidelines for going back into shooting?
Yep.
Thank God she is.
I mean, yeah, it's been a really obviously interesting last sort of month or so, and we've an incredible line producer, Kim Todd, who's been having conversations with, and our UPM Gina, having conversations with all of the departments and trying to figure out what they need and what their day's like and what would need to change and what do they need to be safe and all of that. And then obviously we've all read the stuff that's just come out from the unions, and so we're looking at that and okay, how does that fit into our plan? How does that fit into what we need? And it's an ongoing conversation that sort of seems to be, I would say, escalating obviously now as we're kind of getting maybe towards maybe going back to work kind of thing. So yeah, it's been a fascinating, I was actually talking to Bruce for like an hour and a half yesterday. It's just, never thought I would be having these conversations.
Yeah,
Are you hopeful, sweetheart?
Huh?
Are you hopeful?
Yes, I am, but I'm a bit of a positive person. I am hopeful. I think, the thing Bruce and I were saying yesterday, and the thing that we've all been saying, whether it's like big wigs at MGM or people who work in, the grip department, we just want to figure out what the safest way to do things are. That's it. That's all that matters. It's just, you just have to try to figure out what is safe, because human life is more important than getting an episode done. And so we're just trying to kind of figure out how do you merge those two? How do you get the episodes done and then also take care of people? I think, I'm hopeful. I think that we will make a television show.
Do you just play it? Are they just playing it by ear? Is season 4 meant to be the last season, or you don't know yet?
We don't know yet. We've lived pretty much on a season by season basis, honestly. Every year we're like, oh cool, we're doing another one. That's good.
And do you get to shoot the show in sequence, or is it all out of order?
We shoot them in 2 episode blocks. So it's two at a time. So we shoot those episodes out of order. But yeah, 2 at a time.
Do you all get to read your character arc for the season, or are you just only given the scripts for what you're working on?
Just
that would be about it.
Yeah.
We can ask, Bruce is very generous. If you ask, and he will give you the arc. He's very generous, kind writer, wonderful writer. So yes, but I don't know anything. I don't. Elizabeth, you have to have some clue, don't you, darling, about what's going on?
Sometimes, but honestly, sometimes I do. But honestly, there's stuff that comes along that I don't get until I read the outline or something, that I didn't know was happening. But so I have a general idea sometimes, but it changes too. That's the thing. I think we've all found that even, if you have a conversation with Bruce, Yvonne, about something that's going to happen, then turns out maybe that ends up not happening. So it just changes over time.
Yvonne, one of my favorite moments with you and Joseph was when you do the tango together.
Oh yeah.
Did the two of you have to learn that dance for the episode?
We did. We practiced for a while. We had to learn all these fancy new moves.
You were quite good. It looked like dancing with the stars.
Great. Yeah.
That was one of the odder moments actually for me on the show. Just so unexpected and weird, and I wasn't sure at first when I read it in the script how it was going to play, or if it was going to feel not sort of authentic for the couple. But
had you imagined that you and he were the type of couple that would know ballroom dances? And
I hadn't imagined that before, but when I was reading it, I kind of thought back to their past and how they might have done salsa lessons at some point.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
great to
something.
see, this fabulous couple, and what were they like before when they were madly in love and
Yeah.
this and that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always so weird though to think about that. It's like, it's why it's so fascinating when we do go back in time, like with Anne and watching your flashback episode, and how strange it is to see them in the normal clothes, speaking somewhat normally, and it's just so bizarre. It always feels bizarre. I don't know about you, Anne, but the first time that I went back in time, it was just like another film completely. It felt like we were just on another set doing something else, and it felt so strange in these plain clothes.
I can say that shooting Lydia's flashback, maybe because episode 3, we've been at it for a minute. And so to me, all time disappeared. And usually, as much as I don't like to say it, you're thinking, okay, we're on hour 12. How are we doing? How's the day going? Moving along, are we? Any hope for pre-dawn finish? But I had no sense of time. I could have gone from morning till whenever. It was exhilarating to shoot it.
You can tell too. I mean, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you were working with Barker did that episode, right?
Barker.
Yeah. That was his episode, right? He'll kill me if I get it wrong.
No.
He'll love it if I just credit him anyway. But I remember him saying, like, she's just not being surprised by your extraordinary performance because you're always extraordinary, but like he could just tell how much fun you were having, how much you were enjoying it, and just like a pig in shit. Like you were just so, and I feel like you can see that in the performance.
And also seeing, oh my goodness, what happened to all of us? What happened? I mean, I would say, Yvonne, for us, hon, we know what happens to the handmaids, but yeah, anyway.
So fascinating. I love flashbacks with you guys. I just think for me, that's when I get to go watch another show. It's the only time I get to go watch another show, and like, I feel like I'm not making it. I feel like I'm watching it now. And it's so enjoyable for me.
Can't wait to get under your tutelage, my dear.
Oh yeah. I'll whip you into shape.
Oh, I know it. I'm prepared.
I've got some things to say to you, Ann Dowd.
Oh my God, I know it.
I feel like I shouldn't be here for this part.
Oh, sorry, honey. I'll step back.
That aspect of the show reminded me of Lost, where you see what's happening on the island, and then you see everybody's backstory, which really it makes everything have so much more depth.
Yeah.
Everything has so much more feeling to it once you see what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
I think maybe Fred and Serena learned that tango for their wedding. That's just what I'm gonna. That's just what I'm gonna believe.
Maybe. I was gonna say, to add to that, when we go into the past, but sometimes we also get these little nuggets where, like Serena's mum, for example, at the beginning of this last season, and we get to see a glimpse into these characters through someone coming in from the past and sort of unpeeling that next layer. And I know that certainly was sort of equally as fun to dive into for me with Serena's mum coming in as it was to go into a flashback episode, because it really is a moment of revelation, and what her childhood might have been like with this next level horrendous woman shaped Serena into this next level horrendous woman.
I feel like this season had so many of the commanders and people who were the architects of this society have so many regrets now. I'm wondering if you think that Serena has those regrets too, because Serena is, in a sense, one of the architects of this society. She has a lot of investment in it. Do you think that's part of the reason she's held on so hard, is she considers it a personal failure if Gilead doesn't work?
I think so, and I don't know that she can go there quite yet to acknowledge that she regrets it. I think she's in too deep at this point, and she's also so clouded by her own personal journey of wanting a baby, and then having given it up under the pressure of June convincing her to be a more have a morals at a higher standard, and only to regret it. And she's just consumed at this point, even more so than probably she was in the first 2 seasons, by this child and what it means or meant to her, and how to fill that void. So yeah, I just think she's so far gone into the society. I always like to think that she has some glimmer of hope, and I think she certainly shows that she might be somewhat of a genuine person here and there, because she does have feelings, and she too is in survival mode. I share the same thing as you, Anne, when you say it is about survival. I think every single woman or every single person on the show is in some kind of a survival mode, because you can't any other way. A lot of the choices have to be made to preserve your own power and your own status. So there's that too. But the one underlying thing is that she's always wanted to just have a friend, and I think she's sought that in June, and it's just turned into fireworks.
I just wanted to say I've always admired your way of straddling those worlds, Yvonne, because your tremendous intelligence as you play her, and natural leader, and being suppressed like that. And being, is she really knitting, or not knitting, but whatever it is, embroidery? Are you really in the flippin' garden? Come on, this woman should be in Congress or whatever. And
that's what I tried to tell her, Ann.
Did you? And what happened?
That's exactly what I said.
And how do you live with that not nonsense, because our lives are on the line, so nonsense is not the word. How you manage that to be, because it's not what everybody talked about, is it? The little meetings before Gilead took over, that wasn't the plan. Hello.
Yeah.
Third little birthday parties for these children. Come on, now. Get that wrap out of their arms, spoiled.
Yeah. It feels like there's 3 versions of these characters. Like there's the ones that existed before Gilead with their ideals, whatever their ideals may have been. What Serena was genuinely trying to build a better life, and Aunt Lydia, I'm a huge Aunt Lydia supporter, and I think she genuinely was trying to take care of these women and these children. And then there's the ones that they became when they first got there, and then there's the ones that they are now, and they've morphed into these people that aren't really as simple as when they even first arrived in Gilead. It's like being in a sort of a prison system, and the prison itself has changed them.
Yeah, I mean, even June, the symbol of hope and resistance in this whole series, and look at how the horrendous things that now June has done that will stain her life forever, and what that has done to anyone that has had to survive that place.
Yeah, June is not the same person that came into Gilead. She's just not anymore, and it's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, how could you not have come to that place and still be a fighter, still be a hero for lack of a better,
or survive? You just have to you have to change to survive, I think.
At the end of season 3, I think I really felt the there's this idea that you can't be an oppressor without being affected and corrupted inside by doing that. In season 3, it sort of seemed like a lot of that is coming to pass. The oppressors are becoming so corrupt inside that it's hard for them to it's like who you have to become inside to oppress people in the way that they are is destroying themselves, right?
That's exactly right.
And you sell your soul,
Yeah.
It's because there's just so many secrets to bury. There's so much out there. It's what happens in the real world, and all the documentaries available to us on certain platforms about
Have you been watching
people in.
Time on
about
your
people
hands.
in power and all the tapes that might be out there of fun things to watch.
When I was talking to Margaret Atwood the other day in an interview, excuse me, Jen, am I taking this off course, hon?
No, go ahead. I want to hear what Margaret Atwood said.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Yes.
You got to brace yourself because she's just so smart.
Yeah.
And wonderful and everything else. And I was just totally prepared because, you know, I said something like, how could Trump be so stupid? She said, he's not stupid. There's nothing stupid about him. Look what he's done to people all his life. Scammed. I mean, you know, just what was my point? I was going somewhere with it. Help me, someone.
Oppressors and how they've changed.
Oh, and how does the man live with himself? Do you know, how do you get through the day? How do you go to sleep?
He's in too deep.
How many trazodone do you need to get the eyes shut? You know, it's just fascinating.
Yeah. I'm talking to her tomorrow, Margaret, and I've got some questions. I think they think it's going to be like an interview with the two of us, and I'm like, oh no, you don't understand. I have a list.
What are you going to ask her, doll?
I just want to ask her anything. I just want to say anything that like sparks her to then talk about the world.
She's unbelievable.
And that's all you have to do. You kind of just ask one question, like, so what do you think about this? And you've got a good 10-minute answer there.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
so
there. The two interviews, the one that you did and the one that you're going to do, are these anything that we can watch like coming up?
Mine is going to be on a thing, I think. Yeah.
Mine came up today, I think. Is it Monday?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. For SAG.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
Yeah. SAG.
Okay, so I have some audience questions for you.
Okay. I want to get my I'm going to get my remote charger. So direct this question to somebody else. I'll be right back.
Do you know if The Testaments, the sequel Margaret Atwood wrote, factor into the storyline moving forward?
Well, I should say it doesn't contradict it moving forward. Things I might have thought, for instance, regarding Lydia, that are not quite as I imagined them. Now that I've read the Testaments, it's become clearer what actually went on and how Gilead took power. But I think they will work together.
For Yvonne, you're so detailed and specific with your actions. How much of yourself is in this character, or does any of your character's moods reflect you?
Oh God, I hope nothing.
Are you method? Did you cut your finger off for real?
I don't have any fingers. I just said I torture myself.
Too many roles.
No, you know, it is my job to really thoroughly understand Serena and horrifyingly justify her actions. But no, I can't. I feel very far away from her, and I hope my husband thinks that as well.
Your son, more to the point.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
For all of you, if you could play any of the male characters on the show instead of the character you play, who would you pick?
Oh.
Wow. Try not to get
maybe
so much
Brad.
of a lens glare.
Yeah. Maybe Brad.
Bradley Whitford.
Who else could we mess up? Well, I don't. Just to be just to be in their shoes for a minute or two, you know. I don't know which one. How about you?
It's more exciting. It's more exciting to be us, though, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like that's so interesting because I've never been asked that question. I'm like, who would I can imagine wanting to play one of the other female characters, but like the males, I'm like, I don't know. I think Commander Lawrence. I feel like he's so complicated and interesting in a lot of ways. Maybe him. Nick's really interesting though too.
Yeah, Nick.
I just can't imagine anyone playing like Fred except for Joe, so I just can't wrap my mind around that. Like I don't know if anyone.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of those answers, I think. No.
Yeah.
Okay. For Elisabeth, we feel every emotion and thought that you have when you play Offred, how do you get ready for these emotional roller coasters?
I would say it's a little bit of like a long process because, you know, I'm involved from such a beginning stage. So in a lot of ways, I've been thinking about or living with certain ideas and certain things that my character will deal with for like months before there's a script or months before we shoot it. So it's almost like I don't sit and think about how am I going to do this. It's more like I just kind of live with it for so long that it becomes second nature. I also like, and these ladies know this, I'm like the farthest thing from a method actor you could possibly imagine. And so, and I'm usually like running from one scene to the next and having to move really fast and having to do a lot of work in a day and in a week and in a period of 6 months. So I don't really have a lot of time to think about it. I kind of just go for it. And what's so fun for me is like, I can think about it in this like little vacuum for months, but then I get to like land in a scene with Yvonne or land in a scene with Ann, and all of a sudden there's another performance in front of me and it's incredible and it's something for me to work with and act with, and it takes care of so much of what I have to do. So I end up just reacting opposite these incredible performers. Makes my job really easy.
Okay, this is for everyone. What qualities of your characters do you admire most? Especially with Serena and Aunt Lydia. It's difficult to feel empathy for them, but as the series has progressed, we have a better understanding of them, I think.
I would say for Lydia, her resilience, for sure. And there is a part of her that genuinely loves the girls. And so that she can keep this love present and can act on it. It could be her downfall. But I think that to me is a very redeeming quality. And I think she has a conscience that she shuts down regularly, but it is there. And I appreciate that very much.
Yvonne?
That's a tough one to answer. I mean, I think probably persistence and intelligence come to mind first, but if only she would put it to good use. But like Anne, I also think that Serena does have a conscience in there that she buries a lot for the reasons that we kind of talked about earlier, to, you know, to survive in this world, and that she is persuadable and she's smart enough to know good from bad. It's just that she chooses to deny the good a lot of the time, and then she really kind of does everything for her own gain at the end of the day.
So to wrap up, because we only have a few minutes left, I actually didn't check to see how much time you guys have, but we usually do 45 minutes. So if this were to be the last season, would you miss playing these characters? And what do you hope that the impact of this show will be on people?
Well, what's more thrilling than seeing women in the costume of the Handmaid's Tale as activists? I mean,
yeah,
you always hope, hey, could we make a difference? Couldn't we maybe make a difference? I find that it just brings me to my knees when I see women in protest with those costumes. I think that's extraordinary. That it puts a voice and an image and a reality out there to take and do something with.
Yeah, I mean, I will forever miss playing this character when it's done. I love her probably more than any character I've ever played and look up to her. But I guess my hope is something that I think is something that June has, which is in a way her best quality, but it's also her downfall, is that she believes the best of people. She believes that Aunt Lydia has a heart and a soul, and she believes that Serena will do the right thing, and she just won't give up on people, and she won't stop believing that they will eventually find their humanity. And I think that's I hope that, I guess, people take away from it the idea that there are experiences that have led everyone to where they are, and they're different experiences, and they've formed who they are. And if we can just have a bit of an understanding of that, and a bit of more, an acceptance of that, that we, I think would all possibly get along a little better sometimes. Like, I still believe Serena's gonna find her humanity. I can't stop it. I can't, and I that's what I get from the show. So I guess I hope that's what other people get from the show.
I hope that it stops being such a strong reflection of today's
Yeah.
real world society.
Yeah.
I hope that it's, we're really taking a long, hard look at ourselves and everything that's going on. And that's what this show contributes to, I think, is people taking a good, long, hard look at what we are as a society. And hopefully we can all just do better.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if this show was like that weird show on Hulu that is super different from our lives in the world outside. That weird fiction show that has nothing to do with us. I think that would be a good place to end.
I'd love it if we could all just, over a couple of episodes, find our breaking point and just collapse in true breakdown. All armor dropped because I just don't have the strength. And all of us to be in a situation together where nobody's hiding from anything. And nobody has power.
It's the musical episode.
Oh, was it?
The musical episode.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I think we should combine that with the musical
The
episode.
season
for
4.
sure.
I think they should have you three end up in Canada together and go karaokeing together.
oh yeah, because Lydia's real good at it.
I
want to see
terror shooting that trying to sing a damn note.
song Aunt Lydia would pick. Aunt
Say-
Lydia's gonna pick Brass in Pocket.
Hey, that song, I loved it to this day. I don't know if I hear it, I have to sit down.
Can we just do something super classic, like "I Will Survive" or something, like just like the cheesiest, like girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Some,
Oh
like,
God, can you
cheesiest,
imagine?
Like, karaoke song you can imagine.
And the handmaid.
Okay, that's our next video. That's our
and the
next
handmaid's
video, Yvonne.
stripping. What a blast.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you said you wanted to do, like if you could do a different show for Hulu, maybe you could get Alex Garland to write a season 2 of Devs. So you guys could be in like the futuristic.
Yes.
I don't know. Did you guys see Devs?
I've seen that. I've just started it last week.
That's so good.
It's so good. I love Alex Garland.
Well, thank you so much, you three. You three are so busy. I looked up what you're doing next just so I could talk about it and recommend it. Elizabeth has got a movie out right now on Hulu called Shirley. And then a teeny little film called The French Dispatch coming out in October, Wes Anderson movie.
Oh.
Ann Dowd, you have Cowboys with Anna Kerrigan. I love Anna Kerrigan, an amazing indie filmmaker. And the remake of Rebecca, is that coming out this year?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, Lord, I
can't wait to see that.
That was a blast. Total blast. Yeah.
So cool.
Yvonne's got a show called Stateless coming out on Netflix July 8th.
I've seen the first episode. It's amazing. She's amazing.
You three are Wonder Women. I don't know if you ever sleep. It must have been kind of nice having a Corona break.
It's lovely. I'm in New Hampshire. It's quite lovely.
Yeah. Yvonne has a baby, so I imagine it hasn't been as much of a break.
Oh, but it's been good to spend some time, it's been really good. Yeah. I'll probably, when I go back, I think it'll be very difficult.
Yeah.
Go back to a full day.
I know, because she came back to work right after she had her son, so it must be nice to get this time with him.
I know. Yeah. It has been literally.
She was like
plopped him out and
She
came
like
to
blocked
set.
him out, and we were like, "Great, so are you done with that yet? Because we kind of need you to come and shoot the show. So you can bring him. It's cool."
Were you shooting Handmaid's Tale while you were pregnant then? Which
Yeah,
season?
I shot from episode 8 or 9 onwards of season 2.
Yeah.
And then I had him and then came back to work like 5.5 weeks
It's
later.
That's pretty crazy that you were really pregnant in a show where you can't get pregnant.
I know. What is about the irony? My God.
Yeah.
It was crazy. We were like hiding her pregnancy because like you're not supposed to be pregnant.
I know, it was like the costume department nightmare. First when I was pregnant and growing, and then on the flip side, after I had the baby, when I was bigger and shrinking. So it was just constant.
Yeah. Let's focus on that word shrinking. 2 pounds all wet.
Well, they did a great job because I never noticed a single thing.
Lydia was pregnant. Did you notice that? It was the Immaculate Conception.
I got pregnant too after, a pizza or 2.
Before we go, we have to say goodbye. Before we go, I have a special request from Ann Dowd.
What?
I'm a super fan of The Leftovers.
Oh, yes.
Would you be able to say Kevin?
Kevin.
Right? Yes.
The way that you say his name in I used to have a coworker named Kevin, and I was always imitating you saying Kevin. You'd be like,
I'm the biggest super fan.
You'd be like Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah.
Kevin.
Oh, so
favorite. I just watch clips of you saying Kevin all the time on YouTube.
Well, that's hilarious.
That is so funny.
Honey, I'll work on it.
Thank you so much to you three. Will you come back after season 4? Talk about season 4?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
For having us.
Thank you so much.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, you darlings.
So good to see you.
See you shortly.
So good to see you guys.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'll talk to you see you in a second.